Joining us now are two legendary, epic,
not overstated,
stratospherically brilliant Democratic strategists, Bob Shrum and Bill Carrick. It's good to see you here in the flesh. Gentlemen, how are you?
Good. How are you?
We're great. Tell us what you think right now. We know you're Democratic strategist, but we have to ask you about this because, you know, the David French news rocking the political world that this could be
I thought
the
Republicans,
independent challenger to Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton.
I thought Republicans were allergic to all things French. And I tweeted that out, and somebody said, "Well, he could change his name to David Freedom."
He could.
You know, I don't think this thing goes anywhere.
Right.
It may take a few votes from Trump in a few places, but I don't think it's a big deal.
Bill?
I don't think it's a big deal. It's so hard to do structurally. It's so impossible a task. And if you're unknown, it's really unbelievable. And if you're not a self-funder, the whole secret to Ross Perot was he was willing to put his own money in the game.
As we said, the group that we're looking for somebody who was some combination of rich, famous, and with political elective experience. The guy's got none of them. I know you're both skeptical, but Bill, I'll start with you. What would have to happen within the realm of the possible? Say he gets in. Again, we're told he's not fully decided to get in. When we spoke to him tonight, he didn't sound like a guy who was already in the race. Let's say he gets in. What would have to happen within the realm of the possible to make you say, huh, maybe there is something to this?
Well, I don't know. I mean, the bottom line threshold is 15% to get in the national debates. You don't
I'm talking
exist.
shorter term than that. Let's say he went to the National Press Club or the Washington Monument and gave a fantastic speech.
I don't think a speech is going to do it. You're going to have some structural foundation to make yourself credible, or nobody's going to pay attention to the speech.
Said, this is our candidate,
That's
and
a
here's a
different
super
thing.
PAC with $100 million.
That's a different thing.
Yeah,
so that would do it. $100 million.
If suddenly at $100 million could get onto almost every ballot in the country, then he could become a serious force. And that force would be inimical to Donald Trump.
So the two consultants say a guy who has a lot of money to spend on paid media, that we take seriously.
No, actually it's bad. First of all, it's expensive to get to get that ballot access.
Right.
And why aren't the Koch brothers going to do this for the Libertarians, by the way?
Well, they might. They might. There's some talk of that.
So here we are in California, where there's a big Democratic primary coming up 1 week from today. Hillary Clinton, who I know both of you think is going to be the Democratic nominee, because we've had these conversations in the past at this point. Why does it matter for Hillary Clinton to win California? Why should she spend money here? Why should she spend time here? Why would you advise her to be doing what she's doing, coming out here and fighting as if this really mattered?
She's doing it for one of two reasons. Either some of the polls are right that show it close, and she doesn't want to lose and take the risk of limping her way to the nomination, because she needs the momentum. She needs the sense that she's taking over, that Democrats should come home, and she would like Bernie Sanders to get out and to endorse her. Number two, it may be that they think they can win by a fairly substantial margin, and that would be important to them. I myself think it's very close. I think if you look at the body English of both of these campaigns, they think it's close, and either of them could win.
I think the truth is Bernie has really dug in here pretty deep. I mean, I never imagined presidential candidates going to Santa Maria and Visalia and National City, places that aren't actually media markets. He's going to and drawing huge crowds. I mean, 7,000 people in Stockton for a political rally is unheard of. So all of that, he's dug in pretty deep. He has good advertising on the air here. It's very California specific, and he's got more of it. So he's created his own storm here, and now she's reacting to it. And there are polls that suggest it's close, and there are some that don't. I think Adam was right that what we really don't know is who's going to vote. And it's not just the structural problem of independence, because the ones that vote on election day don't really have a structural problem. It's just the ones that vote by mail. But it's also all these millennials and Latino voters who registered since the first of the year. Are they going to wait till November to vote, or are they going to vote on June 7th?
I think I think a lot of them are going to vote on June 7th.
For Bernie
And
Sanders.
a lot of the Latinos are probably going to vote for Hillary Clinton.
No question.
But look, Sanders has, Bill's right, a great ad. It's a great California-centric ad. And he's already seen, I think, in person, like 138,000 or 140,000 people. He'll see about 250,000. What is that, Bill, about a tenth of the votes he needs? Yeah. But that's amazing. No one's ever done that.
Your colleague, friend, client, Dianne Feinstein, was as aggressive as almost any Clinton endorser has been over the weekend in trying to nudge Bernie Sanders maybe a little bit out of the race. 8 days from now, regardless of the result here, do you expect more Clinton people to be more aggressive in saying you cannot spend the rest of June and into July campaigning? You need to start coalescing?
Well, one thing with Senator Feinstein, if she's on your side, you got somebody who's going to fight for you.
Yeah.
And she instinctively thinks this race ought to be over. She just genuinely does. She's a numbers person. She looks at it and says, enough already. And she's willing to say that. She doesn't care about any consequences.
Let me ask it a different way, Bob. Do you think things like that make it more likely Bernie Sanders gets out? No effect, or less likely?
I think it makes it less likely.
Yeah.
I think you got to give room and respect to Sanders and his supporters. I think he has to do this on his own timetable. I do think if he loses California, the pressure internally on him, I mean, even from inside himself, may be to move toward ending the race, making the deal. Look, there are lots of ways to do this. Reform the nominating process, accommodations in the platform. But I think that trying to push him out, and I know that Diane has very strong feelings, and that's why she's doing it, I think the pressure to push him out is counterproductive.
I don't think he's going to be pushed out. You know, in the old days, we all know, you ran out of money, you got out of the race. He's not going to run out of money. He can go all the way through the convention doing this. Unlike other people who stayed in long, Senator Kennedy did when Bob and I worked for him, Gary Hart did in '84. We saw it with Jesse Jackson 2 times. I mean, people have stayed in to the convention. Jerry Brown stayed into the convention. I was involved in negotiating his nominating himself for president of the United States so he could talk at the convention. I mean, we've been through all these things before, and they end up not being all that consequential in most instances.
Although in some historic instances, you could say it really hurt the party with a shorter runway to unite, right? I mean, that's
but
maybe,
look, you know, people talk about 1980. Jimmy Carter was going to lose in 1980. There were hostages in Iran, and the economy was in terrible shape.
Yeah. Would you if you were counseling Hillary Clinton, would you tell her to consider putting Bernie Sanders on the ticket? Yes or no?
Consider yes.
But not do it.
I think if she's going to move in that direction, I might move toward Elizabeth Warren.
Consider Bernie Sanders for the ticket?
I think definitely consider Bernie Sanders.
But not do it.
I think there are other people that would be better.
You like that Elizabeth Warren idea?
I'm not so wild about that. Tim Kaine, somebody like that, who has got some appeal in specific geography,
And that's
makes sense.
That's the safer choice, and I think she's more likely to go there.